So today we're going to look at the workshop, brief look round, show you what's involved, what machines I have, how the timber comes in, just a general chat really. So let's get into it and give you a tour of my workshop and see what you think. Thank you. So this is the entrance into it. Let's go through the door and take a look. So this is where we stack the timber. Generally, if we're working on machines around here, we take it out first because, as you can see, it's not good in front of this machine. But it's now the weekend, guys aren't here, so we've got to bring it in so no one steals it. We have a few machines, you know, I'll go through them properly, but cross cut, rip saw, 4-sider for planing. We also have a bandsaw for when we're doing bench work, ripping tenons and bits and pieces. A long bed overhand for straightening up timber. Got benches. We have 4 benches. Let's say we're only a small place. We have buried because they're working on a job at the moment. As you can see, this is a functional workshop. It's not a show workshop, it is a working workshop. So I'm actually quite impressed how clean it is considering. So tilting head spindle, which is very handy for bits and pieces. Extraction, everything is LEV. The LEV gets tested every single year to make sure it's up to scratch. We have a wipeout sander for finishing stuff. And over here we have more benches, and we also have a panel saw when we're doing unit work, sizing bits and pieces, cutting sashes in, etc. My favourite machine is the Woodworking EKA 5-headed Tenoner, and then after that we have a mortar saw. So yeah, this is the workshop. So let's go into more detail about the machines. So this is a cross cut. When we get the timber first in, it comes in like this, sawn, long lengths. We go on here to cut this wood to length. First off, we would bring it on, cut a small end off here, because where it's been thrown around from where it was done, there'd be bits of stone and that in the end. We don't want those getting into the machines, mucking cutters up, etc. So it'll come on here, trim these ends off, cut it to length, multiple, whatever it needs we've got to do, and that is all this machine does. It literally just cuts something to length. And let's go to the rip saw. So the rip saw, this is a big beast of a machine. What we use this for is basically, as it says, we change this fence and we cut things to size whenever we need it to be. So as you can see, the boards are all different. We need these, we cut them first, then put them through here to rip. Yes, some people might say, do not straighten it first. If we need to, we will. If we either be from a chalk line and rip off the edge, or it will go over the overhand to straighten. But I'm just explaining that this is what this machine is for. It's just for ripping timber down to size. So this is the long bedded overhand. So we use this for straightening timber. When we buy it in, it's not always straight. Timber is a natural product. It moves, it comes bent, it's twisted. So sometimes when we cut it to length, if it's not straight, we have to come over here first before we can go through the rip saw. Nice long beds, which really does help straighten the timber up, is what it's all about. And sometimes once it's ripped, before we go through the 4-sider, which we will talk about in a minute, we may need to face side, face edge. Just get them nice and straight so we can go through that machine. But we will have a look at the 4-sider next. My 4-sider. What this is a planer that planes on all 4 faces at one time. That's why it's called a 4-sider. Some people call it a moulder, but we don't really need to go into that. The idea of this is, when we buy the timber in, it comes in this rough state. After we've cut it to length, we've binged through the rip saw, we've overhanded it all, we can then put it through this machine here. We push it in this end, it will go through this machine. I've removed the extraction from here, just so it's easier to walk around and stuff. And then it will come out this end here with all 4 faces planed up. So we will go from a sawn state like this to a PAR state, prepared all round. Okay, this is a moulded, I understand that, but it does show you how it comes out. So once we've gone through the mill side of the joinery with the cutting to length, the ripping, the overhanding and the planing, we've now got prepared timber, which would come over to one of the benches, depending on who's working on it, and then would be marked out. So wherever it needs to be, for the mortises, whatever it is, we will put it over here to mark it out. It's then going to go to a Tenoner, so why don't we show you the mortise and the Tenoner first before we get to the spindle. So this is on a pallet, so as we're a small workshop we need to move it now and again, so we would move it. It's on a long cord so we can pull it out into the workshop, out of the way from everything, put the dead men over the side of it so we can use long lengths. And this is what we call a mortiser, a Woodworking DMV. It has a very braiding head which makes life very easy when we're going through hardwoods. This is basically what we use for a mortise and tenon. The mortise is the hole that the tenon sits in, and this is what we use to create that. We can change the chisels in here for different sizes for whatever hole we want to put in. Very handy bit of kit. Now the big one, Woodworking EKA 5. This is a beast of a machine. This is a Tenoner. So what we can do on here, actually I've got a video which we will overlap at some stage in this and shows you what it does. So we have the 2 tenon blocks up here, and then we come through to the 2 scribe blocks. This has got a bottom scribe and a combing head in for now, and then we can come to the rip saw. So as you can see, there's 5 heads on there, which is why it's called a 5-headed Tenoner. But we will insert the clip so you can see this working, exactly what it does. But very good bit of kit, very big, beastie. We have these safety guards on just to make it safer. This machine is older than I am, but it's still going strong. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant bit of kit. Now onto the panel saw. There's not really much to say about a panel saw. It's just a generic machine that gets used pretty much every day. Just for cutting lengths of timber to length, if we're doing board work, i.e. sheet work, MDF, ply, wardrobes, whatever we're making them out of, it might be birch ply, moisture resistant MDF, this all gets cut through here. It's a workhorse, everyday use, just from cutting small little ends like this. It's just a workhorse that gets used every day. There's not much to say about it. It has a sliding table, so you can use it for cross cutting, and also an adjustable fence over here for ripping. Just here, and then fine adjustment if we need it. Good bit of kit, it's used every single day. Now it's going to be hard to show you this properly, this machine, as I've said, I've come in on a Saturday morning and this is how I've walked in, this is how the workshop's been left. It has got windows, well, sashes in front of it, which actually has all been machined, and this is the machine they get on. So all these rebates, grooves, mouldings are all done on this particular machine. This is how we put all the shape into the timber. So if you imagine it's square, it all comes through here. We put rebate blocks in for taking rebates out, grooving, moulding, you name it, it is done on this machine. It's a tilting head spindle, which is very handy for when we're doing bits and pieces. If we ever need to go into more detail on any of these machines, we can do. Please, someone just say they'd like to know more, and we will. This is just a brief look into the workshop and to the machines I have in here. Yes, we can go into far more detail, but I'm sure no one wants to spend a whole video, 30 minutes or so, about one machine. Could be wrong. If so, let me know. But this is what it turns into. The wide belt sander, pretty much exactly that. This is a big wide belt sander. We push the timber through and it will sand that one face. So in here are the belts. This is the belt that pulls the timber through. These belts above are the sanding belts. And we just push it through here. It then comes out this side with a nice finish on. This speeds the whole process up. Makes, if we were doing, argument's sake, hundreds of meters of flooring, instead of spending days and days sanding it by hand with a hand belt sander, we can put it through here, and what would take 3 days by hand would probably take about 3 hours on here. So it makes a big difference when we're doing big jobs. So very handy bit of kit. And this is the extraction unit for this. As I said before, everything here is LEV tested. We get our LEV tested every single year, and we are probably due a test soon actually. I'm sure it is going to be coming up, so we will get that all done. And I think the only machine left to show you is the bandsaw. So not much to say about it. It's just a bandsaw which we use for cutting wedges, whipping tenons, bits and pieces like that. Just generally cutting stuff off. It's like a, for want of a better word, a big tenon saw, but a machine version, so we can just push things through really quickly, really easily, just to get things cut to length. Again, it's an everyday workhorse that's used all day, every day. Well, not all day, every day, but it's used quite a bit just for getting bits done. And then after that, we have the Hoffman machine, which I forgot about this one. This is a bit of a luxury. So when we're doing belection molds on doors, this is what I call a belection mold. Just a sample one for here. We put a little thing in the back, which just is in here. It just basically holds the joint together, which is how, there's no glue on this joint. I can manipulate that, twist it. There is no glue on this joint. It's just held together by a little plastic dovetail, which just means these stay together really nicely. Really good bit of kit for when we're doing belection molds and stuff like that. It just makes the job better, which is really handy. So that is a look around the workshop and what we have. I know it was quick. So if anyone wants any more information on how we do things, we will do videos about how things are made next. But any more questions about the machines, any more information, just ask and we go into more detail if needs be. But this is a look around the workshop, and yeah, see you in the next one. Thank you.